One more thing we'll talk about here. I want to review a documentary I watched last night on HBO Max. It's Woodstock 99, Peace, Love, and Rage. Documentary produced by Bill Simmons of the Ringer Films. It's his first one, finally. I mean, it's funny. He's been on HBO, under HBO now for about 5 years, and I think he's only done 2 projects. Maybe it's his third project. He had the TV show that failed, of course, which is terrible, by the way. And then he had, I think, the Andre Giant documentary that he assisted on that came out in 2018, which is really good, by the way. But there's not much about HBO since then, that I've seen anyway. But I was looking forward to seeing this because my buddy of mine, Jason, sent this to me last night. I was just randomly putting my kid to sleep, and he says, "Did you see the documentary on Woodstock yet?" And I go, "No." And so you got to check it out. And of course, he knows I like it because if you remember Woodstock 99 in the lineup that they had, the 3-day special, the bands they had on there set up to play, that's down my alley. Metallica obviously is on there. And you have Limp Bizkit, which I wasn't a huge big fan of theirs back in the day, but you could appreciate some of the things. Korn, of course, I was a big fan of. Seven Dust is on there. A lot of Chili Peppers, you name it. That's where it's at. James Brown. Now, history lesson here from me. Let me guess. I was actually planning on Woodstock 99. Woodstock 99 was done in Rome, New York, in the middle of July. I was 19 at the time, and I had I really did think about going to this show because I want to see Metallica. That would have been my second time seeing Metallica in concert at the time. I decided not to go because I realized, Woodstock, and I remember seeing Woodstock 94, and I remember it was a little bit of a clusterfuck. Not because it was a bad situation to be in, but it was very crowded, and I didn't know if I can. First of all, I couldn't get anybody to go with me. Number one, none of my friends wanted to go. None of my friends at the time that I had really cared about that kind of music, so no one really wanted to go with me. So if I was going to go to New York on this kind of trip, I would have gone alone, and no one wanted to go. So I'm not going to bother pushing that. It'd be a lot more enjoyable to go with people that you can enjoy this with. So that's why I didn't go. But the documentary was good. It did feel a little too political at parts, because obviously the thing with the Woodstock is that it was a shit show from the beginning. The way it was organized, the people running it didn't really put more thought into being organized with how they handled, not just the crowd, but also people coming in, getting in for free, and the water situation, and it was just disgusting and all that. And then, of course, I was a little bothered by a little bit about some of the political angles because, you have the people on the documentary talking about, white supremacy and, angry white men. And we can get into another topic of that, one day about the deep dive about that. But it felt a little too biased, anti, all these middle class, privileged white people, angry for no reason at all. And I could see the angle, but it felt too forced. Okay, I get what you're trying to say, but okay, enough. Give me the documentary. Let's learn what not to do. Of course, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of incidents. There was alleged rapes apparently happened because of how disorganized it was, and obviously, day 3 was the disaster where there was fires there. This was done on the old Air Force base back, that closed down years before that. It was definitely a very good documentary in terms of getting another snapshot of where we were in 1999, in that time, the late 90s, where we were as a culture, not just with music, but also with politics and, just, culture, but counterculture also too, and why this Woodstock was not like the first 2, especially not like the first one, and the relevancy of this festival and why it was out of touch at that point. It was definitely a documentary that you should watch it. I'm recommending it definitely. Like I said, it gets a little too politically, in my opinion, at times, a bit much. With it, even if you agree with what they're saying, you don't want sometimes the biasness to take over sometimes too. Also, but that's just my opinion. People might look at me here to say, "Oh, what are you talking about?" But anyway, it's definitely worth it. It's on HBO Max. Definitely check it out. It's definitely worth the watch. I thought, for the record, because I love Metallica, it's my favorite band whole entire world. By the way, they announced another show to come down to South Florida here, not just now with the Rockville in Daytona, but they're now doing a show in a smaller venue at the Hard Rock here at Seminole Hard Rock in November, which I'm trying to go, hopefully go. But I got a feeling it's going to sell it before I get a chance to buy it because it's in a smaller venue, only 7,000 seats available, and I guarantee that will all sell out within the first hour or two. But looking back at the Woodstock, the show itself, like the concert itself, much as good as Metallica was, obviously, and love them. I was never impressed with that set because I didn't think that sounded that great. Korn was the best band that night. The best band of the 3 nights. Korn, in my opinion, was the best act. That set from night one at was it 9:30 at nighttime? They fucking crushed it. So yeah, check it out again. HBO Max. Woodstock '99, Peace, Love, and Rage.